All right, tell me the story of Adam and Eve.
Okay, so starting
Mm-hmm.
the story was so Adam and Eve had a perfect garden,
Mm-hmm.
and they were perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a sneaky
Turn off that sound.
snake. The snake slithered to them, and then the snake told them. The lie was, oh, did God say you can't eat from that tree? Yes, God said. Eve said, yes, God said, we can eat from all the other trees except that one. And then, when they told them, and then he said, oh, the snake said, oh, if you eat from that tree, you will be perfect like God. So they said, so Eve said, okay. And then Eve went to that bad tree God did not tell them to, God told them not to eat from. Eve took a bite of the fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gave some to Adam. Adam said, is that the fruit that God said we can't eat? And Eve said, yes. But you will be perfect like God. That's what the snake said. So Adam took a bite. And then their eyes popped open. They saw they were naked. And then they had to put clothing on from animals. And then their children was fighting. Grandchildren, children, even parents. Their parents were fighting. Adam and Eve. And then they go in the spooky world to Earth. But now they're not perfect. That's how we can not perfect. End of the story. My turn.
Good job. So, with everything that you just said, and you asked me, what was the first question y'all asked me?
We asked, why does it hurt when you have a period?
So now you just explained it. So God created us to be perfect so that we could not understand what good and evil was. So that tree that Adam and Eve ate from, it was the knowledge of good and evil. God didn't want us to have that because he wanted us to be childlike forever. But once they listened to the serpent and they used their free will, because the serpent didn't make them, they used their free will to eat from that fruit, they then no longer had access to God just freely. So they were separated from God. They had open eyes, like you said, to where they knew good and evil, so they knew being naked was bad. They didn't know that at first because it wasn't bad to God. But as soon as they ate from that apple, everything got perverted. Perverted means you look at everything like sexual, like bad, like nasty. And so that's what wound up happening. And so our periods was something that God created for women because that was a part of our punishment for creating sin. We brought sin into this world when we listened to the devil. And the devil was inside of that serpent. So that is why it hurts when we have our period. That and it hurting when we have kids, that was a part of our punishment. And Adam's punishment was he was going to have to work with his hands to make money. Because at first, they just had everything they needed. And God created that rule for men. They have to work and work hard for their money. And they're going to have to be separated from their family while they work. So, there was a lot of different things that happened. But our periods was a part of the fall of humans. Okay?
Okay, can I tell them about Lion King?
Mom, guess what? When you said, Adam, she chose to eat that fruit, and then while you were saying about the period, I don't remember that whole sentence. That's why women have to have our punishment. It's because Adam is the girl.
No, Adam is the boy.
Eve was, Eve, she chose to, eat from the tree first, so that's why girls had punishment for when they had kids, and that's why. And
I feel like Adam's was greater because when God created
He was
Adam,
a boy.
Pause, let me talk. When God created Adam, He told Adam not to eat from that tree, and then Adam told Eve, because it goes God, then man, then wife, then children. So God was talking to Adam when he told him that. And so Eve heard from Adam not to eat from that tree, but guess what? Eve still chose to. Adam didn't have to choose. He used his free will to still eat from the tree because he allowed his woman to persuade him. So the woman got in trouble for persuading her husband to eat from that tree and for listening to the serpent. But the husband, he got in trouble worse, I feel. I could be wrong, but that's what I feel, because he was told directly from God not to do this. And he's supposed to be covering his wife, but instead of covering his wife, he listened to her. So if I had a husband and I told him something and it went against God, I don't expect him to listen to me over God. I expect him to continue to listen to God. And if I don't want to listen to God, then he can let me do what I want to do, because he can't make me do what he tells me to do. But I expect him to follow God. Adam chose not to follow God. He chose to follow Eve, which made Eve an idol in his life, because he followed the woman over what God said. So I wouldn't blame Eve, because Adam heard those words directly from God and chose not to listen.
Mommy, so you know how evil? It starts with Eve. So I know Eve is not evil, but
She did something evil.
so that's why it's called evil. So Eve did something evil.
I didn't create that word, baby. I don't know. We're done though. We're done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Y'all hear the type of conversations me and my kids be having. This is funny.